Have you ever wondered why almost no musical instrument seems unfamiliar in Bruno Mars' hands? Why can a singer celebrated for his extraordinary voice effortlessly move from the microphone to the drums, then to the guitar, piano, bass, and percussion as if they were all extensions of himself? Many people assume these abilities came only after years of training once he became famous. But what if his greatest secret actually began long before the world knew the name Bruno Mars? What if his remarkable sense of rhythm was born not in a luxurious recording studio in Los Angeles, but in a modest home in Honolulu, Hawaii, where the sounds of drums, doo-wop, reggae, and family music filled every single day of his childhood? Stay with us until the end of this video, because this story will take you back to Bruno Mars' early years and reveal how a little boy raised in a deeply musical family built the foundation that would eventually make him one of the world's most complete entertainers. You'll also discover why many professional musicians believe Bruno Mars' extraordinary rhythmic ability isn't something that can be learned overnight, but rather the result of growing up in an environment that shaped his musical ear from a very young age. Today, the world knows Bruno Mars as a Grammy Award-winning singer, a gifted songwriter, a world-class producer, and one of the greatest live performers of his generation. Yet very few people truly understand that his incredible journey began within a family that lived and breathed music. Long before stadium lights illuminated his concerts, before millions of fans chanted his name, and before his songs dominated global charts, Bruno Mars was simply a young boy named Peter Jean Hernandez growing up in Honolulu, Hawaii. Honolulu wasn't just the city where he was born. It was his very first classroom. Its streets reflected a rich blend of cultures, and music served as the universal language connecting families and communities. In this vibrant atmosphere, Bruno grew up in a home where silence was a rarity. Music wasn't merely entertainment. It was an essential part of everyday life. One of the greatest influences on Bruno's musical development was his father, Peter Hernandez. His father was a percussionist who led the family's musical performances, playing styles that ranged from doo-wop and reggae to rock and roll and traditional Hawaiian music. From a very young age, Bruno didn't simply observe musical instruments from a distance. He watched them being played with passion. He witnessed how rhythm became the heartbeat of every song, and how a percussionist could control the entire energy of a performance with nothing more than perfectly timed beats. For many children, the sound of drums might seem like noise. But for young Bruno, those percussion rhythms became a language he gradually learned to understand. He watched his father's hands move confidently across the instruments. Without realizing it, his ears became trained to recognize tempo, accents, syncopation, and dynamics, the very musical qualities that would later become defining characteristics of Bruno Mars' artistry. Most fans see Bruno Mars as an exceptional singer, and that is certainly true. Musicians, however, often notice something deeper. They don't just hear his voice, they hear the way he understands rhythm. The way Bruno enters a song, chooses the perfect pause, or naturally moves his body with the beat demonstrates that rhythm isn't simply something he follows. Rhythm has become part of who he is. This is why many people believe that the true foundation of Bruno Mars' musical brilliance lies in percussion. Interestingly, Bruno never grew up under a rigid system of formal musical education. He didn't spend his childhood attending prestigious conservatories or elite music academies. Instead, he learned through real-life experience. He listened carefully, observed closely, imitated what he saw, experimented on his own, and repeated the process countless times. It was a natural form of self-directed learning. Whenever music filled the house, Bruno wasn't simply sitting and listening. He carefully watched every movement. He studied how musicians' hands worked together, how rhythm shifted with emotion, and how every member of the band communicated through music without speaking a single word. Those daily experiences slowly shaped his extraordinary musical instincts. Long before the world recognized him as a singer, Bruno had already developed an exceptional sense of rhythm. That rhythmic foundation later made it much easier for him to master other instruments, including piano, guitar, bass, and eventually the sophisticated skills required to become a producer capable of building complete songs from the ground up. If you listen closely to Bruno Mars' catalog, you'll notice one element that consistently appears throughout nearly every song he creates. Whether it's an emotional ballad, an energetic funk anthem, a modern pop hit, or a smooth R&B love song, every track possesses an unmistakable groove. That isn't a coincidence. A deep understanding of groove usually belongs to musicians who have spent years living with rhythm. In music, groove is something that cannot be fully explained through theory alone. It is a feeling, one that develops through years of listening, performing, and truly experiencing music. Bruno Mars received that priceless education from childhood. His family's musical environment became his first music school, even if he didn't realize it at the time. The family performances led by his father also taught him another invaluable lesson. He learned that being a musician isn't simply about playing the correct notes. It's about making people feel something. Every audience should experience the same joy, excitement, and emotion shared by the performers on stage. That lesson has remained with him throughout his career. It's no surprise that every Bruno Mars concert overflows with movement, dance, spontaneous interaction with his band, and an energy that rarely fades from beginning to end. All of it reflects what he witnessed growing up. He wasn't merely learning how to play music. He was learning how to bring music to life. Many fans only discovered Bruno's drumming skills after watching concert footage or behind-the-scenes rehearsal videos. In those moments, he appears completely comfortable sitting behind a drum kit, performing with remarkable precision that leaves audiences genuinely surprised. The reactions are always similar. How can a singer also play the drums this well? Was Bruno actually a drummer before becoming a singer? Why does everything he plays look so effortless? The answer to those questions takes us right back to Honolulu, to the modest family home where the sounds of percussion first filled his ears. That is where everything truly began. Bruno didn't learn rhythm because he dreamed of becoming famous. He learned rhythm because rhythm was part of his family's everyday life. As he grew older, those abilities evolved into something far greater. He developed an instinctive understanding of how songs are built. He learned how an introduction should capture attention, how a chorus should explode with energy, and how a bridge should create emotional anticipation before the final climax. Such skills are usually found in producers who understand music as a complete art form. Once again, everything leads back to rhythm. In modern music production, drums often serve as the structural framework of a song. Once the rhythm feels right, every other instrument naturally falls into place. Bruno understands this concept exceptionally well. Perhaps that's one reason his songs feel so alive. Every beat has a purpose. Nothing sounds excessive, yet everything feels irresistibly engaging. Fans who have followed Bruno Mars since the beginning often say that one of his greatest strengths is his ability to honor classic musical styles while making them sound fresh and modern. He seamlessly blends elements of 1970s funk, soul, Motown, reggae, rock and roll, and contemporary pop without ever losing his own identity. That ability didn't appear overnight. As a child, Bruno constantly heard different musical genres performed live around him. His ears naturally adapted to shifting from one rhythm to another. Without realizing it, his mind stored thousands of rhythmic patterns that would later reappear whenever he sat down to write or produce music. This is why so many professional musicians describe Bruno Mars as a complete musician, not simply a successful pop singer. Behind every hit song lies a musical foundation built long before fame ever arrived. What makes Bruno even more fascinating is that he rarely boasts about his instrumental abilities. Instead, he allows his performances to speak for themselves. Whether moving from the piano to the guitar or occasionally stepping behind the drums or percussion, everything appears effortless. That quiet confidence is part of his charm. He treats every instrument like an old friend. There is no hesitation, no unnecessary showmanship. Everything flows naturally. Perhaps that's exactly why audiences feel such a deep connection with him. They don't just see a global superstar. They see a genuine musician who has loved music from the very beginning of his life. Even today, many fans believe one of the reasons Bruno Mars continues to perform at such an extraordinary level is because he has never forgotten where it all began. He may now perform on the world's biggest stages. He may have broken countless records in the music industry. He may have earned some of the highest honors in entertainment. But behind every achievement still lives the little boy from Honolulu who once stood in awe, listening to the powerful rhythms created by his father's percussion. And perhaps that simple story is what makes Bruno Mars' journey so inspiring.